My name's John, and this is my new YouTube channel, Modeler's File Box. I've been a model railroader for about 30 years, and like many people in this hobby, I'm always learning things all the time. I run a couple of Facebook groups, one for my project railroad and one as a almost like a blog called Val's Modeling File Box. And what I do there is I just put interesting things I find on the internet through Facebook. I put them on that page so I can easily find them and share them with friends and other people who are modelers. So this is my new attempt. I've never done anything like this. I'm learning the tech. I'm learning the equipment. So we'll see where this goes. I want this to be a channel where you come and it's like hanging out in my train room with me. It won't be overproduced. You'll see me in different clothes. I shoot different segments when I can. Fresh home from work, spending a Saturday or Sunday in the shop. Probably often see me with my company's logo on my shirt. So it's just going to be kind of a casual YouTube channel where I can share some interesting ideas. This video is going to be sort of short, but I am planning on showing off a little bit of the layout. I model Racket Lake Railway 1920 in N scale in the Adirondacks. It was a branch line off the New York Central, and I run all steam, and I run a logging branch. I'm a prototype modeler. I spent a lot of time doing a lot of research and delving into photos and trying to get it right. A lot of selective compression. This train room that I'm in right now was a really ratty old woodshed, and I spent a lot of time and extra money sheetrocking it and wiring it and finishing it off, so it would be a pleasant place to be. It's mostly finished, except for the raw USB you see over my shoulder. The layout is a single deck. The room is overall it's about 21 feet wide and or long and 7 feet wide. I currently have the camera set up on the peninsula that is Carter, which was the interchange with the Adirondack division of New York Central. This channel will have lots of different videos, whether I'm building trees or working on backdrops or building kits or all sorts of interesting things that I find interesting and that I hope that other people will. My inspirations come from a lot of different places. I get a lot of really interesting information from wargaming and Dungeons and Dragons terrain builders that is different than what you get standard model railroading information. I spend a lot of time on Facebook on a lot of groups, both for my historical research and for my modeling. There's a few people there that are a real inspiration to me, and their modeling is just magnificent. I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy who does this, and by doing it, I get better and better. I still learn stuff constantly. We'll talk a little bit about my philosophy of makerspace. I am also a fan of Adam Savage from Mythbusters. Has a channel called Tested, and he does a lot of shop infrastructure videos and a lot of philosophy in how to lay out your shop. I just recently renovated my shop. The workbench in my shop, I had a desk I bought for $5 at an auction that I used for years, and I absolutely hated it. And it was like baby puke yellow, and it was just crappy. And I just recently redid the whole workspace with IKEA, and really happy with the way it came out. I'd like to do more of underneath the layout to organize it. I have been a modeler for a long time on a budget, and still on a budget, and I hate to spend money on stuff that's not on the layout, but I'm at the point in my career and the point in my career as a hobbyist that I'm sick of making do with crap. So I've been buying some better tools and really making my workspace better and more comfortable. So there'll be a little bit of shop infrastructure, organization, different videos that I'll do that will strike my fancy. I would also like to while this is not totally dedicated to my layout, do some videos on the layout and some of the philosophy and some of the research that has gone into building this layout. And eventually, even I do a lot of operations, prototype operations, and I'd like to film a couple of the locals so that people get an idea of what this layout's all about. So forgive me while I try to learn on this equipment, using a action camera and some free video editing software, and hoping it's not a complete disaster. This is a short layout tour of my Racket Lake Railway in N-scale. This is Carter. Carter is a Y off of the Adirondack division of the New York Central. If you take the tourist railroad currently, this is one of the spots they stop and go back down the line. As we come out of Carter, we're going to come into the logging camp. This is the Thompson Dix sawmill. The first building that we come up to is the engine house. And behind it is a loading dock where they are loading various pieces of equipment to send up the logging line. And in the back is the hardwood mill. The hardwood mill and the engine house are both laser cut kits that I got from eBay, as is the loading dock. The ash pit is a model masterpiece kit. So come across, the log pound obviously isn't done yet, and we're heading over to the softwood mill. The rear tracks are for the mill and for the lumber stacks. The foreground tracks are for arrival and departure on the Racket Lake Railway. As we continue along, we go along the Racket Lake Railway to Round Axe. Round Axe at a similar station to this. This is a scratch-built station by myself. As we come around, up above is the Round Axe logging line. We'll follow that back out in just a second. We come around past the bridge, and our next stop is Eagle Bay Yard. Eagle Bay Yard is a very small 2-track yard. Eagle Bay was on Fourth Lake in Inlet, New York, and there was a large hotel plus steamboat landing. On my layout, this is where the Round Axe logging line departs and goes up through the switchback and underneath itself back out around to Odell Landing, logging landing, and the upper reservoir for the mill. It then comes back around across itself on a scratch-built log bridge. Continues on above Eagle Bay Yard. The rock work is all molds that I weathered and painted. The track here in the foreground is the hardwood loading dock. This is where they would pull hardwood logs off of log floats and load them onto the log cars to send on to the hardwood mill. Hardwood logs don't float very well, so they would raft them over. So we come around again. On the upper line is the Round Axe logging line. That's going towards Uncas Landing in the back. Down here in the foreground, the Racket Lake Railway comes around. The lean-to scratch built. That's not actually a spot where it's going to stay, but it's where I'm keeping it for safe keeping. In the back, the round axe line disappears through the trees, heading to Camp 53. And in the foreground, we're coming into Uncas and Uncas Station. As we come around, we're going to come around to this stream here. The culvert is modeled after a concrete culvert that goes under the current Uncas Road. Actually, the rail bed crosses on it still. The ravine in the back is all rock molds. We cross into the next room. We're going to pick up Racket Lake Railway, coming around past the Beaver Dam. In a large cinder fill, you can see floodwood from the beavers. Up above, the round axe logging line is coming into Camp 53. Which is partially under construction. In reality, the logging line is in a different location than Racket Lake, but obviously with model railroading, there's a lot of selective compression. There's a couple mock-ups in the back. There's a root cellar. There's a bunkhouse dormitory building. Those will be log structures I'll do out of skewers. There's a loading dock in the front. Again, they're moving different pieces of heavy equipment, getting ready for the logging season. The blacksmith shop in the back, where they'll be putting together the new log sleds and repairing them. There's more rock wall in the foreground. We're going to come into Racket Lake. Racket Lake itself was on a return loop, so it made it very convenient for a model. Along the back in the corner where the coal car is, there will be an engine house. And as we come around here, this is Racket Lake in the very foreground. There's a barge that they took rail cars. There are a spot for coal cars and for oil cars. I come around the loop. We get ready to depart. So it's just a brief little tour of the layout where we stand right now. So I hope you enjoyed the tour of the layout. There'll be more as time goes on and I do more videos. This should be pretty interesting doing this, and hope everybody bears with me, and we'll see where this takes us. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.